After you leave, I want to make sure that you thank Stephen Lee, because he's been a big, big help.
Thank you, and what do I get? A message saying can't open the type of file represented. So don't thank me too quickly.
All right. Well, he does run the finest museum in OL. On this board, this is the Thomas Viaduct. This is the entry road that comes into the park. And the little shack that's here is where you pay your $2, or if you're a senior and handsome like me, you don't have to pay anything, and you can go in. What we did is we've come up with a conceptual plan for a viewing area so that folks could come to the park, park their car, or ride their bike in, and come up and be able to build basically a small railroad platform. And we have an enlargement of that on this side with a few photographs. What I can do is bring it up in the middle a little bit. That almost works, doesn't it? There we go. Basically, we want to recreate a train platform, just like it was when you saw the slide where you had the relay house on the one side and then the other with the little train shelter, a little simple structure, and then be able to have interpretive signs there so that you could come and look and see the trains coming by. One of the photographs, this guy shows you a train coming over the viaduct. CSX and B&O before that, every time they came out with a new piece of equipment, especially the big engines, the new trains, they would bring it and photograph it here on the Thomas Viaduct. It was that important a visual exercise for them, and that was their most famous shot. So we want to be able to have that simple structure built there. We're going to put safety fencing up that will help with the issues that they have today. The monument gets graffiti every so often, and they have to go in and paint it. There's so much paint on it now you can't even see the engraving on the granite monument, which is terrible. But we want to put a fence up around the area, make it safe. There's a picture here also of there's a diagram here on the top right that shows you where up above we need to have a path that goes up from where the shack is, the entrance gate, up to the top. But there's a picture of Horseshoe Curve, which is like Rochelle. Horseshoe Curve is a park up in Pennsylvania where the trains come and they go through a big loop-de-loop. You can also get online and see pictures of it. The trains have to slow down, and so all the train enthusiasts can come with their cameras and be able to look at how many wheels they have and how many cars they're pulling and how many engines they're pulling and so forth. So it's a fun thing. I've been down here in all different hours. The one that got me was I was cruising through about 7 or 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and there was a fellow with a tripod set up at the end of Sutton Avenue, just waiting for that engine to come around. One other plug, before I forget it, so that I think of that. There's an art show going on right now at the B&O Museum downtown Baltimore that we were part sponsor with the B&O. There were 42 submissions that were put in. Beautiful works of art. They range from oil to watercolor to charcoal to crayon and photography. And the gal who's our contact at CSX ended up buying this gorgeous photograph of a big, huge diesel engine. And you just looking at the photograph, you could just hear the rumble of the boom, 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 boom. It was so phenomenal. But you go down and see these pictures, you'll really see another world, and how the various artists interpret the pieces. Another fun thing that we did, and the plug for the T-shirts, we have an artist on our a sculptor artist on our committee, John Ferguson, and he teaches at Hartford Community College. So he used the graphics arts class to make submissions. We got 8 different submissions. All of them were really great and unique. The 175 in the circle with the tracks around it we used for the front of the shirt off one of the students, and then we took the diagram of the viaduct on the back, which we put into the graphic for the back of the shirts, and these sold like hotcakes. So tonight, when you leave, make sure you get your money out and get one for your kids. They'll make great presents.
Hell with the kids.
The hell with the kids.
For me, we've got such
right.
those are nice. They were really nice. Good job.
We don't have that many tonight, but if you're quick enough, you can buy a poster. There's 21 photographs. Half of them we had to get special rights and permission from the Bodine Collection and the Maryland Historical Society. And it's really the first time that this many photographs have been assembled onto one poster. It's a real collector's item. So they're going to be for sale. And last but not last, I got one more thing after this. This is the book that Jim Dilts put together. So you can see the, if you want to have a really concise representation of both the poster and other things and history facts about it, we've got that for sale. And I only have one of these, so we can auction it off tonight. Or I haven't shown it to my planning committee yet, but the folks in Arbutus, the Arbutus Library Historical Society people, they do a Christmas ball every year. And this has the Thomas Viaduct on it, so there's only one for sale tonight. And we might have to auction that off for about $22,000. So, as Kit said, if you get online, Patapsco Heritage Greenway, get online, hit the Thomas Viaduct stuff. There's some red type on the right-hand side, and I can almost see it. The red type on the right-hand side, and it goes, and then there's information about the viaduct, Thomas Viaduct, and then click on animation. It's that simple. It does take, as I said, there's so much data, it takes a few minutes for it to download, but then hit it and you'll see it. They show the viaduct as it is.
Is there internet in here that we could actually bring up the website and show them?
Is there an internet connection here?
Is there internet
There is a
connection?
wireless.
On your, can
I
your
can't
Dell
get
do it?
on that one.
Oh.
Someone else might have a computer.
If anybody has a strong PC,
No?
no, they're going to have to do it at home. Or we'll set up another time to do it. I love technology. If anybody had told me that when I started out in landscape architecture that I would now have 12 computers and we'd be doing all CAD drawings, we had to learn with charcoal and pastels and all that stuff, and now we're sitting here pushing buttons, so bear with us. Yes?
I have a question about the wine and steam gun, the replica that's down in Elk Ridge. Do you have any plans to incorporate that in the new park? Like moving it, if it's possible?
I don't know that Elk Ridge would want it moved, but they might consider it. They've been very supportive. They made a nice donation to our group for this exercise.
It says made in 72, I believe, 1972.
Yeah, it was made by Joe Clark.
Yeah, and Mark Handwork,
Yeah.
but I just was wondering.
Have you all seen, is everybody, did you know what she's talking about? The steam gun is parked right there in Elk Ridge, just off of Route 1, and you can go down and see it. I thought it was a piece of agricultural equipment the first time I saw
It needs a
it.
little TLC. That would be
Yeah,
nice
that's
if
what
we
I
could get
was
in the
getting
park.
at.
It just sits there and it needs a lot of TLC.
Okay.
Where on US 1?
Where,
Across the
Old World goes up,
Boulevard.
where the old Washington Boulevard cuts off. a
Right
little.
across from the biker barn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everybody knows where that is, don't they? How many people came here on their bike tonight? That's what I want to know. Let's pass these out. The other kicker is that if you make a donation to anything in the with the Friends of the Patapsco Heritage Greenway, you'll become a member for life, which is a deal you can't beat. So if you want to make a donation tonight, we'd love it. If you want to think about it and send it in, that's fine too. But any other questions?
Is there,
Did you know anything about the old mill in Ilchester that burned out, what, 10 years ago or so? It's just sitting there?
The Simpkins Mill,
right.
I will give you what I know, and then people can correct me that know more than I do, but the fellow that owned it finally settled up with an insurance company, so he's ready to get over and out of it. The state has some review plans going on. Nobody knows exactly what's happening right now. The dam is scheduled to come out,
Yeah, they're down there now.
They're down there now, and so that will be coming out. The unique thing that I really didn't know until this last year is that down underneath is Thistle Mill, which could be the very first industrial mill, river-powered, in the country. And I hate to say it, but it might even surpass, in terms of age, the Slater's Mill up in New England. And that means the Patapsco Valley could be the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution. So that's a pretty big deal. And there's jewels like this all up and down the valley. And whether it's the Thomas Viaduct, the Thistle Mill, Ellicott City, Banneker Museum, all of these things are pieces of history that need to be preserved and protected and enhanced and talked about. And I think that that's what gets me involved so much so, because it really does affect our quality of life in the area. The more we can preserve and protect and show off to people. So,
Is there going to be a way when all of this maybe gels that you can get to the monument? Or right now, you're not allowed on the tracks to get down to the monument?
I can't see a way right now unless the monument were to be moved. There's some talk and discussion of picking the monument up, putting it over next to where our platform would be. Right now, you couldn't do it because it's between the tracks and you'd have to go over the tracks and
They don't allow that.
that would not be a smart move. Any other questions? Kit, did you want to say anything as president of the Friends of the Patapsco Valley and Heritage Greenway?
Anytime I get an opportunity just to say hello to everybody, I take that advantage. We are pleased to have had you all here this evening. It's one of these things where a lot of folks have been putting in a lot of time to try to renovate this particular structure. It's on the National Historic, whatever that nomenclature
Landmark.
is. It's also on the National Engineering Historic. It's one of these deals where it's in our backyard and no one's kind of paying any attention to it, kind of like the winding canyon that we were just talking about here a few minutes ago. So we're pleased to start trying to bring everybody's attention to it. And if you wouldn't mind just passing on the fact that there is a Thomas Viaduct to your friends and neighbors, I would appreciate it. And we're looking at building kind of a groundswell. There's a lot of interest, but it's going to cost us some money. We're working with the government, local, state, as well as federal, to try to pick up income from them to help do some of this work. But frankly, there's going to have to be some foundations and private folks that are interested in trying to solve this at the same time. So I appreciate your time, and please do take a look at that video. It's worthwhile seeing.
And I'll plug it in for a few minutes here while we're socializing and saying goodnight.
List.
I can't answer that. I don't know. Ed might.
You know, Kit, CSX has to step up to the bat too. You know, we've been talking to them for years. I've been sending them letters, and they've been really stonewalling us. And in the last 20-some years that I've been watching and writing letters, it has really deteriorated. And we've lost a couple kids off the viaduct since I've been there.
And there's been a change within the last year. Sharon DeBoyne is the Vice President of Community Relations from Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Delaware. And they are interested in trying to change their image.
Yeah, because
And
I
so
know
it's working to our advantage right now. They were very supportive as far as the activity we had on July 5th, the anniversary celebration. And we're cautiously optimistic. How's that?
that's great because it's really it's deplorable condition. And I remember, I know of at least 2 deaths off of it in the last 20 years.
Any other questions for me?
Does CSX own that land where you want to put this park?
We don't believe so. We believe it is state park land. But to be honest with you, that's one of the things that we're still trying to figure out. CSX records, just for purposes, Ed knows more about this than I do, but the records that the B&O had that really laid out where everything was, those records burned, as I understand it, during the fire here in Baltimore. And so there is some effort trying to make the reconstruct and all that kind of stuff. And right now, DNR and CSX are working together to try to tell us exactly where the boundary is. And that's the best I can give you for an answer, right?
Is it the reason to put the rail, restore the rail across the viaduct is public safety, or is that?
I don't think we could say that, no. The B&O Railroad or the CSX Railroad considers that to be a line just for the railroad. They don't see any passengers or any people walking on that. In fact, they discourage that.
Yeah.
You used to
And
be
so-
able to walk across years ago, but as they put the stone down every so often, it's built up that the walkway is pretty much gone. It's rotted out too.
We also have some cables, fiber optic cables
Yes.
that have gone down alongside the rails instead of the telegraph lines. It's complex. And all I can say is that we are working on trying to get it solved. When I first started thinking about this, you know, they built this thing in 2 years. I'm thinking I might be able to get the permits that we need in the next 2 years. You know, that does kind of, it's a different way of looking at things at this time. Sometimes that's good. You know, I wish, like anything, that we would have had an opportunity not to put that BG&E transmission tower right in front of the Thomas Viaduct, which is where it is today. When, you know, 1972, when Agnes took it out, it would have been nice if we could have put it someplace else beside where it is. So, Ed, I would like to thank you once again
Well, my pleasure.
for your assistance in this.
And thank you all for coming.
John?
No, Chris.